All right, welcome to video 2 of lesson 4, module 6, and we were just talking about cardinal directions, north, south, east, west, and how important those are. North is always up, east is always right, south is always down, and west is always left on a map, not in real life, right? But when you're looking at a map, then north is always going to be up. This is the same for Google Maps unless you hit some little setting that can flip it around. So normally north is up. Okay, so which animal exhibit is the farthest south? So just how as I was saying, South Point is the farthest south in the United States. Which animal exhibit is the farthest south in our zoo? Looking at the lions, right? Yeah, animal exhibit that is the farthest south. Good job. What animal exhibit is 4 units north of the snack bar? So snack bar, what animal exhibit is 4 units north? The elephant, right? 4 units north. Very good. Okay, the first aid station. We haven't looked at the first aid station yet. What are the coordinates of the first aid station? 6, 7, 6, 7. All right, is our first aid station. So the zoo wants to move the restrooms so that they're located east and south of the first aid station. So where could we move them to? East to the right and south. All right, so what are any possible locations of those restrooms? See if you can find any location that's east and south of the first aid station. Let's see, it is 6, 6, 7. So what about 7, 6? Right here is a possibility. 7, 6. What about 8, 6, 9, 6, 10, 6, right? These are all to the east and south. Pretty much anything in this area, as long as it's east and south of the first aid station. Okay? How do the x-coordinates of possible restroom locations compare to the x-coordinate of the first aid station? So the first aid station is 6, so it's going to have to be at least 7, so it's going to have to be larger, right? The coordinate, the x-coordinate of the proposed restroom location would have to be 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, right over here, because it has to be to the east. All right, now how about the y coordinate? What could we say about possible y coordinates for the location? So our y coordinate is 7 and we have to be south of it, so it would have to be less than. Our y coordinate would have to be less than so that it could be south. Does that make sense? All right. Okay, let's look at the giraffe exhibit here at 8:10. Use the compass rose to describe the movement to get from the giraffe exhibit to the snake exhibit. So we're at the giraffes, 8:10, and we want to go to snakes. All right. So we could say, and you could say the x-coordinate first or the y-coordinate first. In other words, you could move right or left, or you can move up or down, whichever, because you're in a zoo, you're walking around. But just for practice, let's always do the x first and then the y, because that's how we do it in our ordered pair, right? So we're always going to do our x and then we'll do our y. So x is going to be left to right, and to snakes we need to go 1, 2, 3, 3 to the right, and then 1, 2, 3. We're at 3 to the right, and then we have to go 1, 2, 3 down. 1, 2, 3 down. You notice how I always double check my count, because when you're looking at these grids, it's really easy to get confused. So it takes 1 second to double check your grid. I recommend it. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And 3 to the right is the same as 3 to the east. Good. And 3 down is the same as 3 to the south, right? So 3 to the east and 3 to the south to get there. And let's just do a little bit of review on our vocabulary. We are thinking about horizontal movement and vertical movement, right? So horizontal is going back and forth on our X, and vertical is going up and down on our Y, right? And we are using precision. We are moving from the corners to the corners. If we ever needed to go somewhere in the middle, that would have to be an estimate because it doesn't have a grid line there, right? We are precisely describing where we're going, and we're using precision, okay? And of course, we have two axes. We have the y-axis and the x-axis. One axis, two axes. And we are making ordered pairs. That's our group of numbers that describe a location. And those locations are described by numbers called coordinates. Awesome. Again, only 2 videos in this lesson. So every lesson so far in this module, we've only had 2 videos. Awesome job. Keep up the good work. Pause me if you need to get some information. Have a great day. Aloha.